I have thought about this every day for the last 3 weeks. I want to lay out the facts as clearly as I can, because I think the facts matter here. I want you to hear everything before you decide. My brother Marcus is 38 years old. He's charming and funny and the kind of person who's easy to like quickly. When you first meet him, you feel like you've known him for years. He has a lot of friends. He moves through the world easily. He was married once before to a woman named Diane. They were together for 5 years and married for 3. Diane is a genuinely good person. Thoughtful, warm, patient. She adored Marcus in the specific way that people adore someone they have fully believed in. 18 months before their divorce, Marcus began an affair. I found out through an accident. I saw a message on his phone that I wasn't supposed to see when he left it unlocked on my kitchen counter. I confronted him privately. He told me it was complicated. He told me he was going to end it. He told me he was handling it and asked me not to say anything. I said nothing. I have asked myself many times since then why I made that choice. The honest answer is that he was my brother, and I wanted to believe him when he said he was going to fix it. That was the easier thing to believe. So I believed it. He did not fix it. Diane found out the way nobody should find out. At a birthday party for a mutual friend, someone who knew Marcus and the other woman assumed that since the divorce was already happening, Diane must already know the reason. She didn't. She found out in a stranger's living room at a party, surrounded by people she had to continue standing next to for the rest of the evening. I wasn't there. She told me about it later, one of the last times we spoke before the divorce was finalized, and our lives naturally separated. She described how she had smiled for the remaining 2 hours of the party because she didn't know what else to do, how she had driven home alone, how she had sat in her car for a long time before going inside. I think about that image more than I would like to admit. Marcus and I have never directly discussed what happened, not once. We have maintained a mutual silence that functions like an agreement, though we never made one. He knows that I know. I know that he knows I know. The silence has held for 4 years. 6 months ago, Marcus introduced me to Priya. She was everything you would want to meet when your brother brings someone new into the picture, warm and direct and quick to laugh. She had a career she was obviously proud of, and opinions she wasn't afraid to share, and a way of making people feel immediately comfortable. I could see why Marcus was with her. I could also see how much she trusted him. They had been together for about a year at that point. It was clearly serious, and over the months that followed, Priya and I developed our own rapport, not just through Marcus, but genuinely. We had a real conversation at his birthday dinner in November. We texted occasionally. I liked her. 3 weeks ago, we were both at a birthday party. A different birthday party, you will notice the pattern. And we ended up talking for most of the night. Near the end of the evening, when most people had left and we were waiting for our respective rides, she said something that stopped my breath. She said, "Marcus is lucky to have a sister who's so protective of him. He says you've always had his back. I feel like I can really trust your whole family. I trust your whole family." I went home and did not sleep. I lay in the dark and thought about Diane finding out at a party, about smiling for 2 hours, about sitting in a car in the dark. The next morning, I called Priya. I asked her what Marcus had told her about his first marriage. She said he'd told her they had grown apart, that they wanted different things, that it was sad but mutual. I told her the truth. I told her about the affair. I told her how long it lasted. I told her that Diane hadn't found out from Marcus, that she'd found out at a party from someone who assumed she already knew. I told her that I had known and said nothing, and that I had lived with that, and that I was not going to let that happen again to someone else. Priya was quiet for a long time. When she spoke, her voice was controlled in the way voices get. When someone is working very hard to keep them that way. She thanked me. She said she needed to think. She hung up. 4 days later, she and Marcus broke up. Marcus called me that night. I have been in difficult conversations before, but this one was its own category. He was not calm. He said I had taken something real and destroyed it out of some misplaced need to be the moral authority of the family. He said what happened with Diane was years ago and had nothing to do with who he was now. He said Priya had the right to make her own decision about their relationship without me interfering. He said he would not be forgiving this easily or quickly. I let him say all of it. Then I said, nobody told Diane. She found out at a party. She sat in her car afterward for a long time. I know because she told me. I was not going to let that happen to someone else if I could stop it. He hung up. My mother says I should have stayed out of it. That what Marcus does in his relationships is his own business. That Priya and Marcus had built something real, and I didn't have the right to dismantle it with old information. My father won't say either way. He changes the subject. 2 of my closest friends think I did the right thing. 2 others think that it wasn't my place. That Priya was an adult who could make her own choices, and it wasn't my job to make them for her. I want to be honest with you about the doubt I carry. Maybe Marcus was different with Priya. Maybe 4 years had changed something real in him. Maybe I took information from a specific time in his life and used it to define him permanently, and maybe that isn't fair. But I also think about the alternative. I think about Priya finding out later, a year from now, 5 years from now, maybe never. I think about what it costs a person to build a life with someone while not knowing something fundamental about who that person has been. No one gave Diane the choice. I gave Priya the choice. Whether I was right to do it, I genuinely don't know. But I know why I did it. And I would rather live with the consequences of telling the truth than with the consequences of staying quiet again. Was I the asshole? Tell me in the comments. I want to hear from you, and subscribe. New story every week.